Hello everyone, today we are exploring Katsu as a competitive CC deck. We got new cards in Dynasty, and that means that Katsu has new toys to play with. For those of you that followed my spoiler video 2 weeks ago, you already know about Tiger Swipe, a very good 4 attack with Go Again that puts your Crouching Tigers back into the banish zone. And for those of you not aware what a Crouching Tiger is, a Crouching Tiger is basically a very weak attack, a 0 with Go Again and Ephemeral. It just ceases to exist the moment that it hits the graveyard. In this video I will showcase my top 3 Katsu combos with Tiger Swipe that aren't entirely unrealistic to pull off like some of the combos that I've seen floating around on the internet. I've seen people speculating 100 plus damage turns with Katsu, but let's just face it, that's just not gonna happen because opponents are able to block, which means that you can't go all in with these combos in general. But there are some combos that are a little bit more realistic to pull off that you will likely manage to do playing this deck. So how does it work? We got a lot of combo cards in this set that combo in combination with the Crouching Tiger, namely the Tiger Swipe that I've shown you just now, but also 2 other very fun combo cards that I've picked out, which is a Bouncing Chi. So this one is a 3 attack that gains +1 and Go Again if the previous attack was a Crouching Tiger, as well as the Chi Unleashed, which is a 3 attack naturally, very nice as a belittle target, both of these, and it gains +4 if the Crouching Tiger was the last attack this combo chain. So these attacks are just good value in general. Both of these also block for 3, which is very great in combination with things like Flick Flag if you want to build a more like control-centered Katsu list. However, the best combo card remains the Tiger Swipe, which is basically like a Bouncing Chi, except it has an upside that you can put all your Crouching Tigers back into the banish zone if it does manage to hit. You of course need Katsu, the big ninja hero from Welcome to Raid. This one has a very nice ability that if a attack action card, so not your Kodachi's, hits, you can discard a 0 cost card from your hand in order to fetch any of these combos straight from your deck. Usually if you have your big combo turn coming up, you will fetch yourself a Tiger Swipe. However, if you have a more limited hand, let's say you're playing with 2 or 3 cards in hand instead of like a full 4 or 5 card hand with an arsenal, you will generally be seeking these out. And on top of that, since we have most of the bouncing links in the deck, we can very easily search out one of the Tiger Swipes. And with Katsu's trigger, we can search out a second copy of the Tiger Swipe as well, which means that if you have a 3rd copy already available to you, either in your hand or in your arsenal, you're in for a very good turn, which is something that I'm going to be showcasing at the end of this video. And let's get into the more simple combos first. So everything starts with something that helps you to turn this 0 attack into something a little bit bigger, either a 1 attack or a 2 attack. Of course, you can use things like Art of War to achieve that. However, Dynasty has given us something that is kind of like an Art of War, but just specific with the Crouching Tigers, namely the Roar of the Tiger. It creates a Crouching Tiger in your hand, and your Crouching Tiger gain +1 this turn. This is very good because it adds it into your hand instead of the banish zone, means that you can even discard that Crouching Tiger that you that gets added into your hand in order to pay the cost for the Katsu ability, which is something that I personally tend to do a lot. Like, ultimately, it's nice to have a lot of Crouching Tigers, but when you go in with a Roar of the Tiger turn, you usually have something like a double Predatory Streak or something available to you already. The Roar of the Tiger, it's nice in a way because it does help you to set up some combo turns that normally you wouldn't be able to. Something that I tend to do, for example, is like I keep a 0 cost and a Roar of the Tiger in my hand, and then I will pull off something like I play the Roar of the Tiger, I add the Crouching Tiger to my hand together with the other card that I still have left. I just play this one for a 1 attack. Usually the opponent doesn't want to block something that is simply coming in for 1, and what you can do then is you simply discard a 0 cost, fetch yourself a Bouncing Chi straight from the deck, and play that one after that. So you have a very nice 5 attack for 2 cards in hand, which is decent. Maybe not as good as just going in with your Kodachis and something like a 5 attack at the end like the traditional Katsu list, but there is some flexibility to have some split damage, especially in the end game, which is quite useful. Another nice combo that I personally like is to use the Roar of the Tiger in combination with the Surging Strike combo line. I will show this on the screen right now because I don't have those as physical cards on hand right now. So basically the Surging Strike combo line is as follows. You play a Surging Strike, which is a 5 with Go Again. You follow it up with a Whelming Gust Wave, usually by pitching a blue to pay for both of these. That means that you will have one resource floating. And most of the time what happens is that the opponent will block out this combo line completely because they don't want you to get to your Mugenchi release, at which point you just play yourself a Roar of the Tiger, adding yourself a Crouching Tiger to your hand, and then you just play the Crouching Tiger next as a 1 attack. And once this one hits, you discard a 0 cost, you activate your Fiendel Spring Tunic for your 1 resource, to fetch yourself a Chi Unleashed, and you finish the combo line with a Chi Unleashed. Right at the back, a 7 attack, so you've already done 5 with the Surging Strike, you've done 4 plus with the Whelming Gust Wave, and then when this one is coming in for 7, it usually means they will not be able to block this one anymore, and you will be able to leak quite a bit of damage, usually 8 damage at this point of time, which is a very nice combo line. But the thing that you've all been waiting for, so when it comes to like good Katsu triggers and good Katsu turns in general, you want to be able to use your 3 Tiger Swipes in a single turn. The way to do that is by having something like a double Predatory Streak available to you, as well as 1 Roar of the Tiger, and in a best case scenario you even have a second copy of this card available to you, and something like this down there in your arsenal, or in your hand. Like these can be any combination you would like it to be. So the way that this plays out is that basically the other 2 Tiger Swipes, they should be either in your deck or somewhere in your hand so that you can pull off some nice shenanigans. And you need to have your Mars of the Pouncing Lynx available to you. And you start off by just playing one of your Roar of the Tigers, adding a Crouching Tiger into your hand. You then go ahead and play a second copy of this, adding yet another Crouching Tiger into your hand. So at this point you have 2 of these, and then you can follow this up by something like a Predatory Streak, which puts 3 of them into the Banish Zone, and then another Predatory Streak, putting another 3 of them into the Banish Zone. So at this point your hand is basically 2 Crouching Tigers and 6 of these over in the Banish. I don't have 6 on hand right now, so I will just show these as a 6 attack, like 6 like this. There we go. Here we go. So 6 over in the Banish, and where's the other one? Another one in the hand. So at this point what you want to do is you clean all of this up because this doesn't stay on the combat chain, and then you just play your first Crouching Tiger. This is coming in for 2 with Go Again, and usually the opponent is not gonna block this. At the moment that this hits, you want to crack your Mars of the Pouncing Lynx in order to fetch a Tiger Swipe from your deck to the Banish Zone in order to play later on. And then you also want to activate your Katsu trigger to discard 1 of your Crouching Tigers in your hand in order to fetch another Tiger Swipe, add that into the Banish Zone, ready to play. At this point you have 6 Tigers in the Banish Zone, 2 Tiger Swipes ready to go, and you still have 1 Tiger Swipe in hand to pull off some combo shenanigans. What I like to do at this point is I don't just play all the Crouching Tigers and then follow it up with the Tiger Swipe, because if the Tiger Swipe gets hit, if the Tiger Swipe gets blocked, you're in quite a bit of trouble. Instead, what I tend to do is I tend to go ahead and play 4 of the Crouching Tigers that are left in the Banish Zone. So let's say we have 4 of these coming in. We're now sitting at 5 Crouching Tigers on the combat chain total, with 2 left right here. The opponent usually doesn't block this. At this point we have presented 10 damage, and then you can follow this up with a Tiger Swipe coming in for 4 Go Again. Usually this gets fully blocked. That's just the way it is. People throw either the equipment or 2 cards from the hand at it, at which point you can then play another of your Crouching Tigers from your Banish Zone, So this is going to be Crouching Tiger number 6 on the combat chain, with which is again something they're not going to block, so you've probably leaked 12 damage at this point. You follow that up by another Tiger Swipe from the Banish Zone. That's coming in for forward go again. Sometimes you can sneak in 1 damage at this point by cracking your breaking skills, pushing it to 5. Of course, a combo turn like this would be even easier if we had access to Art of War, because then the Tiger Swipes would be higher damage, making it easier for the Tiger Swipes to connect. But let's say just that the opponent throws another 2 cards from the hand at this to fully block this out. It's just the way it is. At that point you can play your last copy of Tiger, Crouching Tiger, followed by your last Tiger Swipe, which usually, like, I've only had this one blocked once so far. All the other times I managed to get this one to connect, either by playing it by itself or combination with the breaking skills. And once this one hits, which is pretty much like 4 damage coming through, you get to put all these Crouching Tigers back into your Banish Zone, which at this point is 7 Tigers, and then you get to play all of these a second time, each of them coming in for 2 damage each, representing yet another 14 damage. So a combo turn like this, we are looking at like twice 2 damage, so twice times 7 damage, so 14 damage, times 2, that's 28 damage from the Crouching Tigers themselves, and then we have an additional 12 damage from the Tiger Swipes that are probably partially blocked. If you're up against an opponent that has a lot of 2 blocks in the deck, you're probably going to be able to get 2 of these to hit. If 2 of these hit against something like a fight deck, you're probably just gonna win the game at that point. However, it's just a ridiculous amount of damage, and you can pull off a lot of very nice stuff with a deck like this. Usually though, you only have 1 predatory streak available to you, which means that in combination with something like the Roar of the Tiger, where is it? Let me grab that quickly. If you have a hand like this, and let's say you have 1 Tiger Swipe in hand and another 0 drop, you can still pull off some nice shenanigans though, that you just play your Roar of the Tiger, you add your Crouching Tiger to the hand, you then go and play your Predatory Streak to add 3 Crouching Tigers into the Banish Zone, and at this point you can just go in by playing one of your Crouching Tigers from the Banish Zone, following it up with, this usually hits, following that up with the cracking the mask to grab a Tiger Swipe from the deck, and activating Katsu, discarding one of your Crouching Tigers to grab a second one from the deck. Then, because we only have 2 of these Crouching Tigers left in the Banish Zone, what you need to do with your last Tiger Swipe in hand is you just play your first copy of Tiger Swipe. This usually gets fully blocked. If it doesn't get fully blocked, well, then at least you get an extra Crouching Tiger. You then play a second copy of your Crouching Tiger from the Banish Zone, follow that up with your second copy of Tiger Swipe. It depends on what the opponent is trying to do. Like, what I've seen is, like, usually opponents don't block this for some reason. They kind of assume that this is all there is going to be and that there's not going to be much after this. At which point, if they don't block this and disconnects for 4 damage, you get 2 extra Tigers in the Banish Zone. And then you can go in with 3 more Tigers, but in other cases you go in with 1. You play your third copy of Tiger Swipe, and that means that this is probably going to connect. You get to put 3 Crouching Tigers back into the Banish Zone, ready to attack in again. At this point you're looking at, let's see, this is 4 damage here, so 12 damage from the Tiger Swipes, 3 damage from the Crouching Tigers, so 15, plus an additional 3 from the remaining Crouching Tigers, so it's like an 18 damage turn. Not as big as the one that I showcased earlier, like the really big combo turn, but it's still quite nice. Alternatively, let's say that some of your Tiger Swipes have already been discarded by something like a Pummel. You can also alternatively look for your Pouncing Cheese and weave those in the middle, which means that you can deal a bit of damage and maybe then follow it up with 1 Tiger Swipe at the very end to still and get these Crouching Tigers back, and maybe these will connect to deal a bit of extra damage, which is also really nice. For those of you that really like ninja decks in general, I would definitely suggest checking out my Patreon. I tend to update Ira, Katsu and Fight there regularly because these are the decks that I play the most. However, I do make some videos once in a while here on the channel, so be sure to subscribe to my channel. And yeah, that's pretty much all from me. Katsu has a lot of very nice combo potential now, and I really like the gameplay, the dancing around with the tigers. It's just a lot of fun in general, so I would really check it out. Get yourself a couple of copies of these cards if you can, now that they're still cheap, because I think Katsu is in a point that we're just like one living legend update away from this becoming a viable deck in the current meta. Right now it's probably a B tier deck, maybe A tier, simply because it's relatively easy to block by control decks. However, it's just fun to play, and I think you will have a lot of fun navigating a deck like this. Anyways, thanks for watching everyone, and we'll see you all next time with the next Flesh and Blood video. Take care.